DK
Golfcast.
presented by Bones Brothers Media.
Oh, the Masters 2022, man. A uneventful but incredibly eventful tournament when you consider Scottie Scheffler running away with it. His fourth win now of 2022, but he had to four-putt, for crying out loud, to win it there. You had COLLIN MORIKAWA and Rory McIlroy holing out on the 18th hole, which felt like my team just won the Super Bowl or the Stanley Cup. By the way, Rory firing an 8 under to finish it. I mean, geez, I thought he might make a run there. Tiger Woods coming back. And then, of course, you had the Bones DK family member, pot odds 3, the one and only Michael McNeil taking the runner-up in the Millie Maker. So it was a hell of a weekend, Bones DK Golf, joining us from Pittsburgh. I mean, just kind of give me your recap. How did you feel about the weekend?
Yeah, man, this is one of the best weekends I've had in a while. That was just so fun watching the pod odds sweat. Went down to Wildman's down in Florida. We were watching the game. We were playing golf or watching the tournament, playing golf, watching it live. So it was just an amazing weekend. I was with pod odds yesterday at the Pirates game. He was living it up, buying drinks. So congrats to him, and I really appreciate the shout out.
Yeah, give me your thoughts, Wild Man. And I do too. I appreciate the shout out from Pot Odds 3. That was awesome. But give me your feelings about the weekend, Wild Man. What was your favorite part? Any big surprises? Can you believe Scottie pulled it out? Because honestly, Cam Smith, guys, had the miracle start, right? I mean, he shaved 2 shots off the lead through 2 holes and then somehow gives it all back in 1 hole on number 3. And that really deflated him. He flipped the script once. He couldn't do it again. Just a wild weekend, Wild Man.
Seems like Scheffler's a man possessed, I mean, even in the biggest moments, as cool and as collected as Cam Smith seems to be, it feels like the pressure just got him a little bit there. And when Scottie holed out, I think on the 3rd or 4th hole from, when their balls were right next to each other, Scottie chipped in and made birdie there. That kind of ended that early rally. But awesome weekend, I mean, again, having sweats. I mean, we both had sweats in the single entries and obviously pod odds. It was foreshadowing because he tweeted us a couple lineups and said, hey, we've got something developing. And it wasn't even the lineup that ended up taking second out of 315,000 runners. So felt like some magic was in the air, and really proud of one of our buddies taking home a big bink there. So hopefully somebody else is next. It kind of feels like it is. We've got some momentum coming here. We always know that the majors sort of kickstart our season, and we're ready for this one coming up. And as a matter of fact, if you watched Bones DK Golf's Twitter, you would have seen my birdie from the fairway bunker from about 160 out.
No one cares about your golf game right now. Let's get back real quick to Pot Odds 3 because he did have Cam Smith, Scheffler, and Lowry in the lineup that finished runner-up. And, when I looked at that on Sunday to start the round, I hadn't really been paying much attention to what he was doing. I saw that. I was like, boy, that's going to be a sweat. When you have the final 2 guys and the guy running hot to get into 3rd place, you're going to get a lot of, placement points there on DK lineups. So that's kind of what Pot Odds did. Good for him. First time we almost had a 6-digit guy on the podcast because we tried to get him on today. He's still enjoying the win. We'll let him enjoy it. Maybe we can get him on next week. Let's get back into the now. RCB Heritage. We are back at Harbor Town, and I'll tell you what, Bones DK, you kind of expect a hangover after the Masters, but this is a pretty loaded field when you think about the guys at the top of the tier. Wildman, Harbor Town also, we visit this course every year. What can you tell us about it?
Well, yeah, it's a par 71 in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina. Relatively short course. It's a die track, Bermuda greens, and a lot of dog legs. So we're going to see a lot of less than driver off the tee, tight tree line fairways, and some of the smallest greens on the PGA Tour. So there's going to be a premium on good iron shots and being able to scramble around the green if you miss those. So the last couple of years, it's been a birdie fest. I think they've made the course a little easier. and the conditions, with the wind staying down can help that as well. So we're looking at guys that are lethal with the irons. There's not going to be much premium off the tee this week. Lethal with the irons and can get it rolling and birdie makers.
Top tier guys, Justin Thomas tried to make a little run there, Bones DK, at the Masters last week, but he's our number 1 ranked golfer in this field. He's going to start at the top at 11,100. Cam Smith, who, as Wildman said, he started off brilliantly. I don't know if it was the nerves. He was deflated when Scheffler made that chip in on number 3. There's no doubt about that. He's at 10,800. Maybe expect a little hangover out of him. I'm interested to see what you think about that, Bones DK. Dustin Johnson, 10.5. Collin Morikawa, 10.2. Cantlay, 10,000. For me, in this top tier, Bones, kind of feels like a Morikawa week if I was going to take one of these guys. But who do you got in the top 5?
Yeah, you're spot on with that take, Edge. I love Morikawa, and I really like him heading up to this week to RBC Heritage. He has really good history here, a top 10, and he's starting to round into form. You ignore the players there, and he has a lot of top 10s with a 68 the Valspar. I'm not too worried about the Valspar. He struggled around the green a little bit there, but yeah, it really does feel like a Collin Morikawa week, and if I'm going to play anyone in the 10K range, it will be him. I really like his attitude. He had a great interview that me and Wildman saw, so yeah, load up Collin Morikawa this week. I think he has a great chance to win.
Morikawa also just feels like the guy that's playing the most consistently right now, besides Scotty Scheffler. Second week in a row, though, Bones hasn't mentioned his boy, DJ Wildman. Do you want to stick up for him here? Dustin Johnson, 10.5?
Yeah, DJ's my boy, I think, right? Yeah, I would pick up for him. He's got some good history here, too, and he's a South Carolina native from the Myrtle Beach area.
Yeah,
but again, I'm going to back you guys and say that Morikawa is the play. The interview that Bones DK is referencing was after he holed out following McIlroy's extraordinary chip there on the 72nd, which, by the way, what a spectacular moment.
Best moment of sports since Tiger won it. I'm talking about all sports. Best moment in all of sports since Tiger won it back in 2019 or whatever.
It was exciting.
It's crazy that it's happened.
Faldo's getting a lot of crap for it as well for, talking early before it went in.
I said that live.
He did. You're like, what's going on here, Faldo?
Because this is, but wait till you see this. It's impossible. I'm like, wait, you going to tell us it went in before we've even seen the shot? Took a lot of the suspense out of it. But certainly special. And look, the quote that he said, look, I'm getting back to playing Colin golf. And what is Colin golf? That's number 2 in the world, 2-time major champ, top 5 at the Masters, a guy that's kind of getting overlooked right now with the rise of Scotty and some of these bigger events. And, he just hasn't been in his best form, but let's not sugarcoat it. He's the number 2 player in the world that can win everywhere. So I do like Colin, and I do like DJ.
Does the disappointment of Sunday's round carry over, you think, Bones DK, into this week for Cam Smith?
He's such a tough play to ever fade, man. He's just perfect for DraftKings. We're a DraftKings show. Yeah, Cam Smith can come out here, but he just gets so many eagles, so many birdies. He almost never lets you down, even if he doesn't win the tournament. So 10-8, he's up there. Yeah, I think he's been going through a lot. He won the Players. Tough week at the Masters. I would be surprised if he shows up and wins this tournament. If you look at previous winners, they're kind of random. You have Webb Simpson down there, Kadira, Wes Bryan won this tournament, Stuart Sink. So, yeah, I'm not going to say I'm fading Cam Smith, but he's not my favorite play this week. I'm looking at Morikawa.
$9,000 tier, again, pretty loaded for the week after the Masters. You got Lowry, who finished great at Augusta this past weekend. 3rd place, I think, all by himself. 9,800. Connors at 97. Berger, 96. Fitzpatrick, 95. M, 93. Spieth, 92. Niemann, 91. And Henley, 9,000. Again, I'm just the host. I don't know how much value is in this $9,000 tier, Bones. What do you think?
I actually like this range. If you don't start Morikawa, you load up Shane Lowry if you don't play both of them. I'm going right back to Shane Lowry here. Not the greatest history, but good enough history. And why would I back him after coming in 3rd place at the Masters? Why wouldn't I back him again? So I'm going right back to him, just churning out top 5s, top 15s. His irons are still amazing. There's not much data from the Masters, actually, they don't give you, but still, green all around, 3rd of the Masters. Good history here. Shane Lowry is one of my favorite plays in this range. And then you go down Corey Connors has really good history. I'll let Wildman talk about him. Fitzpatrick's a good play. I think Sung J M looks pretty cheap down here, 9,300. I could see him being above Connors or even Lowry. So, I think you have a good spot for him. I think the best value in this range is Joaquin Niemann. 5th place 2 years ago here. Loved what I saw at the Masters. He's contending. He's chipping in. He won at the Genesis. I love this guy. At $9,000, that is a steal. I'm done not playing him. We lost $50,000 on him last year because he lost in the playoff, right? And I just haven't played him since because I've been bitter, and he's been doing well. So I'm going to get back on the Niemann train and load him up this week.
Look, he played great for 54 holes, or we'll say about 45 holes. Those last 27, he struggled. He finished dead last, in fact, if I'm not mistaken, of the guys that made the cut. So that's an interesting call right there. A lot of guys did love Corey Connors this past weekend at the Masters, also Wildman, and you like him here at the Heritage. Why?
Yeah, this is going to be a spot where we're just not going to overthink it. The chalk has been connecting darn near every week. And so if he's chalk, it doesn't bother me. He is a smooth swinging guy. He's playing some incredible golf. Just doesn't seem to get in too much trouble. He's hitting fairways and he's hitting greens. And we always used to knock his putter. Well, his putter's coming around, and look what's happening. He's making progress every time he tees it up and making cuts and playing well. I'd say the same thing about Lowry right above him. Really good chance I start right there, Lowry and Connors. I mean, again, you just can't overthink it. Lowry's playing the most consistent golf of anybody on earth right now, not named Scotty Scheffler. And as a matter of fact, that 20-footer that he knocked down on 18 actually moved pot odds 3 from, I think, 7th up into 2nd, because Morikawa then dropped down to 5th from 4th, and Lowry moved up. So that was about a 6-digit putt there for pot odds 3. But we're going to ride Lowry, man. He's producing everywhere, and we're going to ride Connors for the same reason. So I think that you can start here and really make some noise. Now, right below him is Fitzpatrick. We like Cameron Smith being a DraftKings guy. I don't like Fitzpatrick, on the other hand, being a DraftKings guy. I think that he needs that top 5 finish to make enough birdies to overcome the lack of birdies, because he's a par maker traditionally. So we're going to pass on Fitzpatrick, I think, and go with the guys that are riding high with a 3rd or 4th place finish coming out of Augusta, not the Cam Smith, Fitzpatrick, that kind of couldn't get over the hump there, albeit nice finishes.
If you like consistency, though, Bones DK, let me just play devil's advocate here for 1 second. If you like consistency, what don't you like about Berger, who's at 9.6, a little bit cheaper than those 2 guys you just mentioned?
He passed out on the course. I don't know if you saw that. He was getting like.
Okay, I mean, hey, that's fair. If you don't like that about him, yeah, he passed out. Don't think he can handle the heat.
I was like, are they getting medical attention to Berger? And they're like waving him off, and he's like, his caddy's like carrying him off the course. I don't know what happened. He finished, but 77, 80, not making. No, I'm not on Berger this week. I don't even like him anyway, so I'm not on Berger this week.
I want to ask both of you this question. If Jordan Spieth was priced at $100 this week, would you play him, Bones DK? TW Man 66, would you play him?
Yeah, he's fine. He's fine. I don't know. $100. I mean,
Hey, I know it's a radio show, but
yeah, he seems like something is broken inside of that man's head at the moment. It's actually sad to see. This is a multi-major winner we're talking about here. 25 years old. It's can't find his swing. Wild man.
I will tell you something about Spieth, and I heard this a couple of years ago. I was on a conference call with Phil Hui, who's the 50K Poker Players champion. He was gracious enough to join me on a conference call to talk about DraftKings strategy. And he actually played in a couple of PGA Tour events, I think at the Zurich in New Orleans and maybe one other one. And he said, back in 2017-18 when Spieth was on the run, he goes, I'm telling you as a golfer, that swing is unsustainable. The way he kind of like that lurchy movement that he has, he just said it's not going to translate to long-term success. And he seems to be right. So that's a little bit of a maybe an outside source with some very valuable insight. But yeah, no for Spieth.
$8,000 tier. We're going to start with Webb Simpson, who has, if I'm not mistaken, success on Pete Dye courses. I don't know how he's done here at Harbor Town. Anyhow, he leads off the $8,000 tier at 88. Horschel at 87. Hatton, who you guys liked last week, at 86. Varner at 85. Kim at 84. Noren at 83. Fleetwood 82. Kisner 81. And then Kirk at 8,000. Hatton, how was he the guy that actually finished dead last in the Masters? I'm sorry. Yeah, I mistook whoever we were talking about a moment ago. Hatton, now that I see the name, he, didn't play as well as you would have liked him to there at the end, Wildman. So who you got in this $8,000 tier? We'll go to you first.
Well, I'm going to go right down to the Sea Island, Georgia native, our boy. If there's ever a boy, it's Kevin Kisner, man. I mean, he's a top 25 player in the world, guys. He's showing up. He's playing well. We kind of called what was going to happen at the Masters, right? Last week we said we just don't think he has the length necessarily to win, but he should play well, and he did play well.
And he was a great price last week, dude. 6,800. I mean, I feel like that helped. I think Pot Odds 3 had him in the lineup, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had Kisner in his runner-up lineup.
He had Straka.
He did not.
He
did not have Kisner. But again, like, Kisner has a specific game that fits specific courses, and this is one of them. This is where he got his first PGA Tour win, I believe in 2016. And he has missed the cut here the last couple of years, but he's got good finishes, hits fairways, keeps the ball low if there's any kind of wind, and clearly has proven that he can play this type of dive course. So 8,100 still seems really, really low for a guy that I would expect to contend.
I agree. I mean, he's won already on tour this year. He's been phenomenal. Like you said, top 25, 8,100. He seems like the Rodney Dangerfield of this group. Can't get no respect. That joke might be a little too old for some of these younger guys that are listening to the show. Who do you like here, Bones DK, in this $8,000 tier?
Yeah, so this is a great range. You got some great stud players here. I think you might be a little surprised by this one, but my favorite play here is Billy Horschel. I'm not obsessed with his putting stroke. He does all the little wiggle things, but man, he is playing amazing golf. I mean, look at these finishes since August last year. Nothing outside of, 36 besides the BMW. I like what I saw at the Masters. He has really good history here as well. He's a player that can win tournaments, in my opinion. So I know he has a few wins. Has a 5th here in 2018, a 25th last year. I just love him. He's a grinder, and I really, really like Billy Horschel this week. The other guy I was looking at was Siwoo Kim. He's just a Pete Dye specialist, as Wildman said earlier, and second place here. If you look at his irons and his stats just overall, they match perfectly. He's great off the tee, good on approach, good around the green. He's putting well. So yeah, Siwoo is kind of just lurking right there, and I don't know how much ownership he's going to get this week, but this is the type of course you want to play him at. I think I might just talk to myself into Siwoo Kim, actually. I'm trying to decide who to play in that range. I'm torn on like Alex Noren or Siwoo, but Siwoo is leading right now, in my opinion, over Noren.
Alex Noren, his name seems to come up on this podcast every single week.
I like him a lot, man. It's tough to fade him because I do play him a lot. Yeah.
Well, let me add one thing real quick to Billy Horschel, because I'm with you on that one. I actually expected that to be your value play of the week, Bones DK, because you're looking at the guys up there like even Corey Connors and Fitzpatrick and Berger and these guys. You can't tell me they're any better than Billy Horschel, or they even have a better resume than Billy Horschel. Horschel's a FedEx Cup champion.
Billy Horschel wins golf tournaments, man. There's no doubt about it. I want you to finish your thought. I think he's such a prima donna, though, it seems like, out there on the golf course, that it's almost like the Oosthuizen syndrome. Like, he gets like whiny and like bitchy and has attitude when things aren't going his way, so he's a hard guy to root for, if you ask me, if you have him in his lineup, Wildman.
I don't know if I'd go that far. I don't mind him. He is vocal on the course, but look, you can't really hate on guys with a pedigree that he has. He stood in there and he won a FedEx Cup in the midst of Henrik Stenson and Justin Rose and some of these Jordan Spieth, Justin Thomas, some of these studs. Horschel's on that list, so I think an extreme value there at 87. He should be 97 in my opinion.
Wow, that's a big thing to say on record right there, Wildman. We'll see how it pans out this weekend. $7,000 tier. I'll not go through every name, but some of the ones that we often talk about on this podcast. McNeely at 79. You've got Harmon at 77. Pereira at 77. Hoagie, 76. Streelman, 75. Let's see. Luke List, he's a winner this year, 74. Was a winner last year. I can't remember. You got Sepp Straka, our boy, 72. So a lot of names in between there, Bones DK. Who do you like in the $7,000 tier?
Yeah, this is where you're going to make your money, right? There's just a couple good players down here, so you got to pick and choose. Billy Horschel was runner-up value play of the week behind Maverick McNeely, my boy Mav. You know, I'm going right back to him. 7,900, I think that's low for him. I would expect him to be around 84, 8,500. So I love what I see out of Mav McNeely. Again, just look at his finishes since October last year, just churning out top 33s. They were predicting him to win not too long ago, and I think he let a few people down. But statistically, he is there. 7,900, I love his price. He's a great DraftKings play. He's streaky. I mean, coming off 21 birdies at the Valero Texas Open. So that is what you want to play. Not only is the value play of the week, I think he has a chance to win this tournament. Finally have a breakthrough win for the podcast here as well, man. We've been calling this name for a while. So, yeah, give me some Maverick McNeely this week. At the top of 7,900. Obviously I like Mito. I love him a lot, $7,700. He's great. I like what I see out of him. And Kevin Streelman, 7,500. He's gonna find his way into my lineups this week. Really good form right now and has good history with 2 top 10s here. Just something about Kevin Streelman I like this week. He doesn't make many bogeys. It just seems like a Kevin Streelman course. So, yeah, load up Kevin Streelman, 7,500.
What do you got on top of that, Wildman?
Yeah, it's loaded. I mean, this is like Bones DK said, this is where you're going to make a difference here. I'm going to talk about Sebastian Munoz, guys. Another favorite of our podcast here.
He's out. He is out.
He's withdrawn. Well, let's forget about it. He must have withdrawn in the last 60 minutes.
He has withdrawn.
Forget about it then. Anybody else on top of Munoz?
How about Kevin Na? Okay, last week's Flyer of the Week. And by the way, teaser, we've got a Flyer of the Week coming up that we really like here. But yeah, I think Na, again, is in a position where he's building on some momentum, guys. He was number 1 in the Masters in strokes gained iron play, strokes gained approach. So, building up some momentum, probably feeling good, and probably taking that 3rd consecutive top 15 at Augusta with some momentum. He's played well here before, but man, make sure you have a pivot off of him and don't go 100% exposure because he can withdraw.
I'll tell you the problem with Na this week and with Kokrak is I don't know if it's been officially released, but there's a lot of buzz right now on social media that they're in bed with the Saudis, and it's going to be announced that they're one of the marquee names that are going to be those 2 guys that are going to be in it with Bubba Watson, I think, and Westwood. There's a couple other names, maybe 6 guys. But I would anticipate Na being hammered by the media this week with questions that are going to make him squirmy and uncomfortable. Political questions that, right or wrong, he's going to get asked, and his responses are going to be judged. Sometimes you answer the question by not answering it. You know what I mean? So I think the media circus, it could be a circus between Na and Kokrak. And, right or wrong, that's the way I think it's going to be, Wildman. What do you think? And that could very easily, again, a fragile guy like Kevin Na could very easily make him pull the plug and say, see you later.
You just nailed it. I mean, they don't make him softer than Kevin Na, right? So I agree with you on that. That's good. That's a good theory.
Harmon, 77. We like him a lot. I mean, that seems like a bargain here. He's been hovering that all season long between 68 and 7,800. So maybe the highest end this week. But you're shaking your head, Wildman.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to take on Harmon. I don't think his best golf is in his bag right now. But right below him is Adam Hadwin, a guy that I've been touting for a few weeks now. He's had back-to-back top 10s. And traditionally doesn't have good history at this course, but really, really good putter, really good player. And I don't know, he's just one of those sort of like tier B players that I don't think ever gets enough respect or credit for the caliber of player that he is. So he might be a good position down there. Again, I think he's a little underpriced.
Before we get the flyer of the week, Bones DK, anybody we missed? Because there are a bunch of guys sub 7,000 too that we have not talked about.
Yeah, so I'm doing more of a balanced build this week, so I'm not going to get too far into the 6K range with a lot of my picks. Not much I love down there. I don't see why we wouldn't go back to Sepp Straka. He's from around this area. He's just playing incredible golf, and you just ride the wave sometimes with these guys. Why go off him when he was just on the Millie Maker lineup the week before? So yeah, load up Sepp Straka again. I just like what I see out of him. And Denny McCarthy, I think, is interesting. He has some good history here, top 15 last time he showed up, coming off a T18. He's a great DraftKings player. He's extremely streaky. I like him at no-cut events because, he does get somewhat a lot of bogeys. But if he can just – he's coming off 3.3 on the gained strokes where he struggles a little bit. So I just really like to see what if he's making putts and he has good irons, he has a chance to make a real run at the tournament.
Should also mention this is an $8 million purse. It's another huge purse on the PGA. Winner, top 2 guys, I think, are going to become millionaires, maybe 3. Let me throw out 3 names here, Bones DK, before we throw it over to Wildman for the flyer of the week. And I hope I'm not stealing your flyer of the week, but I just want quick answers about these 3 guys. Hoffman, 69. Gim Reaper, 69. Your boy, Lanto, 68.
Hoffman, no. I mean, look at that right now. 67th. Ever since the Waste Management, he hasn't been the same. I mean, he's gone.
The Saudi, he was in bed with. He got guilty by association.
That's a great take, by the way. That's
right or wrong. That's the game he played.
I mean, that's a great take. The Saudi thing, man. That's gonna happen. I mean, Kokrak and Na might be getting smashed this week on this, and that affects people's golf play. So yeah, I mean, I was thinking about Kokrak too, but not anymore after that.
What about the Reaper? Doug Gim?
Gim Reaper, love to play him. 6 of the players, but he kind of got lucky with that break. He wasn't in the wind. I'm not on the Gim Reaper this week. No. And then who was the last guy? Lanto Griffin.
Lanto.
Yeah,
Lanto probably entered your lineup at one point during the 2021 season in 9 consecutive tournaments.
Yeah.
You haven't touched him this year. What's wrong with Lanto?
He just, he's not, this year just isn't his year so far. He had a third at the AMX, so.
Here's something about Lanto, guys. If you want to talk about the questions and the pressers, well, if you're following the news, Willie Wilcox has just released his,
I did not read this yet, but tell me about it.
Former drug addict and on the PGA Tour. Well, the connection with Lanto Griffin is that they're former roommates and buddies. And when Lanto was struggling as a 30-year-old golfer, he had $150 or something like that in his checking account. Willie Wilcox said, "Why don't you come caddy for me?" Lanto goes on, caddy. They make the cut. I think they finished 4th or something like that. Really remarkable. And Wilcox was on drugs at the time. He's on heroin on the course. And Lanto says, I didn't realize how bad he was. I thought he was just on weed or something. Had no idea, but that helped springboard Lanto's career when he was thinking about giving up professional golf. So maybe a triumph story this week for him in the pressers, and maybe it inspires him with that news coming out. That article being posted just a day or 2 ago.
All right, we got the media theme going on right now. How will the media affect these players this week? Wildman, let's get your flyer of the week before we sign off the air here, man.
Flyer of the week. We're feeling good. We're coming off the Kevin Na T14 last week. Great call. Na was in all the Millie Maker lineups for the most part. This week we're going deep. $6,100. This guy is a University of South Carolina product. South Carolina local, right up the road in Columbia. He's a 4-time worldwide winner. He's a 1-time PGA Tour winner, and that win came right here at Harbortown in 2017. It's Wesley Bryan. Guys, at one time, he was a top 40 player in the world, had a bad wrist injury, had to get wrist surgery, derailed his whole career. Well, he's coming in off of a top 15 finish where he made 16 birdies, 2 consecutive made cuts. Probably loves it around here. Probably has his picture up in the clubhouse in that checkered jacket. So let's ride Wesley Bryan at 6,100. Flyer of the week.
All right, we are going deep with that one. But, hey, 2 made cuts in the last 2 starts. That's what you want for sure. You need those guys that are going to make the cuts. Any final thoughts, Bones DK, on the Heritage this week?
Yeah, I like Wesley Bryan a lot, man. That's a good pick. I like him as a round 1 leader bet. If anyone wants to bets out there, he's the type of guy that can just like shoot real low and be in like, leading after day 1 and then probably fade like he usually does. But that's still a good play at 6,100 if he makes the cut. So yeah, great play.
You did mention earlier that I just heard you say the phrase "no cut event" on McCarthy, but this is a cut event, so you're gonna trim it down to 64 guys after day number 1. Wildman, any final thoughts about the RCB Heritage this week?
We're feeling good. I mean, you see behind me, we've got the beautiful Florida weather. I'm
envious. I am envious of that.
2 weeks from today, I'll be in Hilton Head, and I'm going to play Harbortown. So hopefully we're celebrating a big win out there when I'm playing it. But
good for you. Going to go out and shoot 135 at Harbortown. It's going to be great. Drink 50 beers. Not even remember it.
That's true. I will try to go, 1 golf shot per beer.
Let me ask you a question. Is this the same course? We won't say anybody by name here, but is this the same course where your cart mate quit on the 15th hole and slept the rest of the way home?
No, but I'll be with him. That was actually the course Bones DK and I played on Monday down here at Bradenton. So, yeah, it'll get rowdy. We did, if you've seen that picture of the cooler being strewn all about the mulch there, that's Hilton Head.
Yeah.
So
that's going to be a good time.
We'll see what happens.
That'll be a good trip. All right. Well, it should be a fantastic weekend, guys. Again, I'm not expecting much of a Masters hangover here, not only because of the strength of the field, but the size of the pot. These guys want that cash, man. You're getting paid if you're winning on the PGA Tour this year. So always good stuff, guys. Appreciate you so much. For Bones DK Golf and TWMan66, my name is Edge. Follow me on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at GolfGuyWV. Thanks so much for listening, and good luck this week. RCB Heritage, Harbortown, South Carolina. Hey, DJ's a hometown guy here too. Don't forget.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to deposit $25 and get him in the lineup. All right, thanks, guys.
Hey, let's go. Let's get another one.